Let's tell a story of how I caught my ex-boyfriend of 2 years cheating on me with 12 different girls, give or take, and how we caught him hooking up with one of my best friends. Also, to preface, if you are him or his friends or any of my ex-friends' friends, you know about this story or somewhat involved, whatever, relax, okay? It's not that serious anymore. It's funny now. Will I ever talk to these people again? No. But it just goes along with the story. It's funny, okay? So, like, don't text me and be upset that I'm posting this, okay? This guy were dating for roughly around, like, 2 years. And then it got, like, really off and on. Like, I didn't know if we were dating. He didn't know if we were dating. Our friends didn't know if we were dating. It was really weird, okay? Most toxic thing I've ever been in. I will never do that to myself again. But, like, lesson learned. Okay, whatever. Young and dumb. Came to the point where I'm hearing stories and stuff, whatever, but I've also always given him the benefit of the doubt, which was like so stupid of me. But I was like, I need hardcore proof, right? Like, if girls were coming forward, I'm like, send me screenshots. Like, you and I will be fine. Like, girl, we can be besties. You can have him. I don't care. But just like send me, like, you know what I mean? Like, I would never go to a girl being like, your man's cheating, blah, blah, whatever, and then like not send her proof, or like just be the girl in the middle. I know. So anyways, there's so much to this story. He was talking to multiple people, okay? So like it was very common to hear different stories and stuff, whatever. We would fight, we would argue, we'd get back together, okay? He was staying the night at my apartment all the freaking time. He was partying in the same apartment complex and then would come knock on my door at 2:30 in the morning and like come to bed. There was one specific night where I remember this vividly, where we're laying in bed. We had already argued and stuff. It was just so bad and toxic. He's passed out drunk, and his phone keeps on ringing and ringing and ringing. And some girl is like FaceTiming him and stuff, like one of his friends. I was so tempted to answer the phone call, but I was like, no, whatever. So a few days go by. He ends up like, everything's fine, whatever. He ends up staying the night one night. And the next morning, I realized that he left his computer at my house, okay? That's where things get juicy. So the next day, I'm sitting there. It, like, goes all the way out. It's, like, 7 p.m. the next day. And I'm sitting in bed. I'm like, I have this, like, gut intuition feeling, being like, you should just try to go through the computer, Natalie. If you guess the password correctly, you were meant to see something. If you guess it incorrectly and you can't get into it, then it was meant to be. You don't need to be. God doesn't want you to find it now, right? But when I tell you God was knocking on my front door, like banging the door down, being like, Natalie, try to get into that computer. You are going to find something. I've been telling you for so long to get away from this man. This is what you need. I go through the computer. I guess the password, right? This is so funny. You want to know how I know the password? Is because this one when Fortnite was really big, and I would play Fortnite on their phone. Like, you could play it on your phone, like on the app. And I remember playing it, and I would play it on his phone all the time, and I was like, oh, I want to play it on my phone, like, what's your password, and logged in. And I just always remember that password, and so I was like, let me just guess it for his computer. Ding! Full access. Ooh! And I was so lucky because his phone was also connected to all of his stuff on his computer. So every text message, every phone call, every FaceTime, every picture, everything is saved on this man's laptop. And it's live, okay? Live text messages, live things that he's saying. I'm like, ooh, I have full tea. I'm seeing every conversation as it's happening, okay? Now, my two best friends are on a double date together, right, with their men. And I'm sitting crisscross applesauce, just logged into this computer. And I call them and I'm like, listen, I just logged into his computer. I guessed the password right. First try. I don't even know where to look first. Do you want me to come over and stuff right now? Like, we can leave right now. We'll come over. Yes. Within 10 minutes, both of them are sitting on my bed. The three of us are sitting on my bed, looking at my computer, just tapping away, looking at everything possible, while the two boyfriends are sitting on my bedroom floor drinking a beer. Okay. Those boyfriends are locked in. We're all clocked in, okay? We are sitting there. We are going through photos, text messages, everything, to the point where, like, I'm going through messages and he's, like, talking to these girls, being like, oh, what should I get for dinner, blah, 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 whatever. Oh, I decided to get me and Ed's. Meanwhile, he was at my apartment. I ordered the me and Ed's. I bought the me and Ed's. We're eating dinner together and you're texting her in my bed. Okay. I will never do this to myself again. But what the actual hell? So I'm just collecting evidence, okay? I'm screen recording everything, all these text messages, all this stuff, right? Just so I prove. Then what I do next is crazy. I am texting him still as normal, as if nothing is happening, okay? Like, we're still fine. We're making plans for the next day, like what we're gonna do to like hang out, right? So I go and pick him up the next day for our plans. This is how like crazy and toxic I was, but it worked. Like I needed to do this in order to just like get everything off my chest. We make plans. I go pick him up. We're in the car. It's like, oh, like, are we going back to your place? Blah, blah, whatever. And I was like, no. I picked you up in this car, so you will be sitting in a moving car as I sit here and list off all these things and just go off on you and confront you about all this shit. And then I'm turning the car back around, dropping your ass back off at home. We are not hanging out. I needed you in a moving vehicle so you couldn't escape or like dismiss the conversation. So then I used the time in the car, in the moving vehicle, to then list off and say all these names of all these different girls and what they were talking about, their conversations. It was crazy because he was talking to so many girls at one point that when I would say a girl's first and last name, he would genuinely be like, I don't know who you're talking about. And I would have to go and say, pull up your phone, pull up all the text message, I will show you right here and there. Like, he didn't even know these girls' last names, okay? He was holding multiple conversations a day with multiple different people. And it obviously was going on for a very long time, but then I finally just caught it in the bud and was like, okay, peace out, see you later. Now fast forward, I'm still living in the same apartment complex. At this point, I have become very close with a lot of his close friends too, okay? So like, we're all going to like the same things or hanging out with the same people, blah, blah, whatever. We eventually got to the point where I'm like, look, we will never be together again, but we will always still be around each other for a long time. So like, let's just be friends, right? So we're friends. I also had a friend at this point who, given the circumstances, so my dogs had just passed away. Both my childhood dogs just passed away. I'm not crying, my eyelashes falling down. This friend was there for me, came and brought me a dozen red roses with 2 white roses in it, signifying my 2 dogs that just passed away. Okay, so keep that in mind. Then, like the next weekend, everybody's going to brunch, okay? Our whole friend group is going to brunch. I have work that day, so I can't go to brunch. So I skip out. I don't go to brunch. Everybody ends up going to our other friend's apartment and going swimming and stuff, right? I can't go. I'm at work, okay? I'm working my freaking serving shift. Being like, damn, yeah, that would have been fun to go to. Thank God I didn't go because that wouldn't have ended well. Fast forward, I get off my shift, I get home, and I get a text message from, meanwhile, the apartment complex that everybody went to go swimming at, like, her and I were friends, but, like, we had just became friends through this other girl, okay? So, like, we weren't that close, but we still hung out a lot, but only with the other friend. They all went there to go swimming. I get a text message from her later that night when I get off of my serving shift being like, call me when you get off. I'm like, okay. The other friend who gave me the roses, she texted me when I get off work being like, hey, you need to call me when you get off work. And my first response was, are you okay? Is anybody hurt? Does anybody need a ride? Okay? Let me know if you want a part 2 of what ended up happening. Part 2 of how I found out that my ex-boyfriend of 2 years was cheating on me with 12 different girls, and we caught him hooking up with one of my best friends. So we're at the point in the story where I just get off my shift after all my friends went to brunch and went swimming and stuff at the pool all day, and I get 2 text messages the second I get off work. One is from my good friend saying, hey, call me when you get off work, and the other one is from my friend, but like, we just became friends because of this other girl, right? They both text me, call me when you get off work. So I decided to call the person the friend that I like wasn't as close with first, because I'm like, if she's telling me to call her, what's going on, right? Like, my brain is just going miles per minute because everybody's been drinking that day. So I call her back first and I'm like, yes, like, what's going on? I said, oops, I had to cut that part out because I accidentally said somebody's name. So I call the new friend first and I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, like, what's going on? Because the other girl told me to call her too, like, what happened? So she's like, girl, you will never guess what went down today. We all went swimming and stuff, whatever. Everybody ends up leaving. She goes back to the apartment with my ex-boyfriend. She goes back to her own apartment, the new friend. my ex-boyfriend and my other good friend go back with her too. And she's getting ready to leave. I can't remember like where she was going. She was like getting ready for something to leave. And long story short, because we're not going to get into details and everything, she caught them taking a shower together, okay? So we all know what went down in there, okay? And then ended up moving into the bed, and she's like freaking out, like yelling at them, banging on the door and stuff, being like, you need to get the F out. I'm leaving. What the hell is going on? And so that friend, the new friend, is like, I kept on telling her that she needs to tell you, or if she's not going to, that I'm going to call you and tell you myself. My good friend at the time was like, you don't need to tell her, like, I don't think we need to say anything, blah, 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 it's not that big of a deal, yada, yada. What the fuck do you mean it's not a big deal? You just got caught hooking up with my ex-boyfriend of 2 years when we all became friends. Like, I don't give a fuck if we're not together anymore. Like, you're one of my best friends. What? Are you crazy? And you think you thought that you didn't need to say anything? Like, okay, so I'm like sitting there, like, my heart's racing. I'm on the phone with my friend, the new friend. I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm like, okay, like, I appreciate you coming and telling me because you're a lot closer with this other girl than you are with me. Like, we just became friends. So the fact that, like, you're going out of your way to be like, hey, this is not right, you need to tell her. We are going to be best friends forever. And now I'm literally in her wedding, okay? Because now we're like, okay, you were there for me at a time that you did not need to be there for me. And now we just instant clicked. I'm like, girl, you're my girl for life. I know I can trust you. Like, you're in town, real bitch, okay? So now I'm sitting there being like, holy fuck, what do I do? Like, I need to now call my good friend back, kind of be like, what the fuck? So keep in mind, I also have both of their locations. My good friend at the time and my ex-boyfriend, I still have his location. And I go and call my good friend. I'm like, hello? And I'm just kind of sitting there waiting for her to say something because I don't know what to say right now. And I'm like, the floor is yours. Tell me what you think that you need to tell me. So she's like, I basically kind of just like cut her off. I kind of really don't remember how the whole conversation went. I just kind of immediately cut her off and was like, I already got a call from the other girl. I already know what happened. I don't really know what the fuck to say to you. I don't trust you anymore. You're weird. I think that's really odd. Like, what the fuck? Like, and she's like kind of trying to lie to me about certain things and stuff, whatever. I'm like, I already know the full truth. Like, at this point, just come out and be honest about everything. So I, like, cut her off, and I'm just like, what the fuck? You're weird. I don't really know what to say to you. Like, I gotta go. Bye. I hung up on her. My phone starts ringing again. It's my ex-boyfriend calling me. I'm like, what the fuck does he want? I don't give a fuck to hear what you have to say. I still answered it, 'cause I'm like, what are you going to say to me right now? Like, there's nothing you can say to try to fix any of this situation after you just begged to be my friend for so fucking long. And like, what in the fuck is happening? So I still answered the phone. I just like let him say whatever he needed to say, and I was like, you guys are just fucking so weird. I don't know what fucking planet you guys are on where you think this is okay and like we can all still be friends, and like I'm so cool off that. We're good. Goodbye. Hang up on him. Then I go and realize too that then we get invited in a group chat to all go bowling, and I'm like, let me go look at their locations. These motherfuckers. I look so white right now. I need to brush this off. These motherfuckers. My good friend at the time, good friends, and my ex-boyfriend are with each other at the fucking bowling alley in the car together. So they sat there in the car, was like, fuck, okay, now we gotta come up with a story. Let's both go sit in the car, come up with a story. You go ahead and call her first, put her on speaker, let me hear everything that you're saying, then I'm gonna call her and also pretend that like I'm apologizing and call her too and come up with a story. You motherfuckers like sat there after brunch, went and hooked up with each other, got yelled at by this other friend, knew it wasn't right, knew you guys were like fucked, and then it still went bowling together afterwards and fucking invited us to go with you? What in the fuck is wrong with these people? Obviously did not go bowling, did not be friends with her again after that, completely cut her off, and then he was already blocked on a bunch of things at this point too. So then I was just like, goodbye, see you later, don't need you guys in my life anymore, you guys are so fucking weird. And yeah, I haven't talked to either of them since. Let's add this to the end of the story. So that's it of the whole story. Shitty friends, shitty ex-boyfriend, like, all the drama, okay? Fast forward, like 4 to 5 years, now we're in today's time. We're in today's time, okay? That happened years and years ago. I'm laying in bed one night, and this is, at this point, maybe like 2 months ago. Laying in bed, ready to go to sleep. Okay, I'm half asleep. And I always put my phone across the room on full volume for my alarm in the morning, so I have to get up out of bed because I set 13 alarms in the morning to wake up. Okay, I'm a deep sleeper. I just spilled that all over myself. My phone starts ringing. It's like maybe midnight. My phone starts ringing and it's loud as shit because it's on full volume. Who the fuck is calling me at this time of night? And I go over and look at my phone and I don't have the number saved. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to answer it. If it's one of my friends, they'll call me again or they'll text me off of this phone number being like, hey, call me at so-and-so. So I don't pick up. It's like maybe 2 minutes later, I get another phone call from the same number. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? I answer it. You guys. Hello? Hi, this is so-and-so from Clovis PD. Hi. Hello. How can I help you? So I'm here with, and you can hear him like kind of pull the phone back. What's your name again? Tells me his name. I'm here with so-and-so, and he got in trouble for this, and this, and he used you as his one phone call to come and pick him up, or he's getting arrested tonight. Oh, I haven't talked to this man in years and years. Okay, I'm like, there's no fucking way you told the officers, yeah, let me call her. She's gonna come pick me up. Which, like, granted, like, it's really funny because, like, I know I was probably, like, one of the only numbers that, like, he could really remember because I don't remember a lot of my friends' phone numbers, but, like, for some reason I still remember their numbers too, like his number. And so I'm like, this is so fucking funny. You used me as your one phone call? Like, you think I'm gonna come pick you up after all the shit that you put me through? Dude, call your parents, call your dad, call your mom. Like, okay, like, I'm not going to be your one saving grace. So I'm on the other end of the phone call. The second that officer says that, I'm literally start laughing and I'm like, sir, I have not talked to that man in over 5 years. I will not be coming to pick him up tonight. I said, go ahead and book him. Thank you so much, Natalie. I said, yep, have a great night, officer. Hang up. You have got to be fucking kidding me. There's no way you thought I was going to be your saving grace. So anyways, that's kind of the whole synopsis of the story. There's a lot other like cheating stories with him. Like I have a lot. I have so fucking many. And so many of me catching him and stuff too. Like that was just like the final straw. The straw that finally broke the camel's back after so many years was me catching him on his computer. And then like delusional me was like, let's still be friends. We have so many friends. Fucking never again. So that's my story time. I have a lot more trauma and stories too about just crazy shit. So let me know if you want another story time about like something else crazy that's happened in my life. I'm still not even done with my makeup. I suck at multitasking, but that's it. Kid, love you. Bye.
Okay, I'm back with another mother-in-law story because there's so many and it makes me feel good to let it out. So this is long. Lots of different situations regarding the same type of situations. Anyway. So when I went to God my first son, we knew he was going to pass away. All my family members knew, like, we'll keep you updated. She was in the text updates. Like, she knew what was going on, as did the rest of my family. I had my mom in there and my sister that's a labor and delivery nurse and Justin. I think as a mom in the situation of pushing a baby out, you can have whoever you want in that room. You can have whoever you want in that room. Don't matter. I don't care. It takes two people to have a baby. You're the one pushing it out. So I just pushed my son out. It was a traumatic birth. They had to jump on top of me. It was horrible. And I'm getting stitched up. My son is on my chest, passing away. And I hear a nurse come in and she was like, Justin, your mom's here. I was pissed. I'm going through something really heavy right now, really big. And someone that makes me one of the few people that makes me so angry and so uncomfortable and just so on edge, she's right outside your door. I was like, okay. So, yeah, she was there for that. I think I was already just in a daze because of the situation, but, like, when she's there, I can't. You know what I mean? Or else I'm going to freak out. Fast forward to me having my second son. Again, same story, same situation. My mom and my sister and Justin are there with me. We text our family. We'll let you know. We'll let you know. Nope. They're they're prepping quick because I'm about to start pushing. And I hear my sister come in and she's whispering. I'm like, what? I'm like, they didn't want to tell me. They're like, Justin's mom's here. I said no. She's gonna have to wait. She's gonna have to sit out there and wait. And so as soon as Royce comes out, he had to go to the NICU. So I held him for long enough to take a photo, and realized that I had a very much alive baby, and everything was great, perfect. And then he went to the NICU. So here she comes. She comes in. And she's whatever, blah, blah, and she's like, take me to go see my grandbaby. Bitch, I barely even met my son. I let Justin handle that. He saw my face. I said, I got it. She didn't get to go. Yeah. Now, fast forward to my daughter. She was our last baby. And I told Justin, I'm like, we cannot tell her. Like, I want to enjoy this. This is our last child, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, nope, couldn't agree more, on it. So I don't think Justin ended up telling her that I had Scotland until we were home from the hospital. Tell me why. She didn't meet my daughter until a few days after her first birthday, because I invited her to the first birthday party because I still include her because it's my kid's grandma. And just because I think she sucks doesn't mean that's their opinion. They're not allowed to be around her unless I'm there, but she still can come. She didn't meet her till her first birthday. That's how petty she is. That's the synopsis of my story. I don't know. Yeah. Let me know if you want more of these. Okay, rapid fire of stuff my mother-in-law has done, because there's just too many to make one video about each. I'm gonna leave details out because it'll be a 37-minute long video, which I know some of you would love. But I've got the time today, but not that much time. So she got invited to my baby shower with my second son, and I'm opening gifts, and someone made a comment, blah, 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 and I was like, oh no, this is it. We're not having any more. Justin's going to get a vasectomy. She yelled at me from across the room and said, no, he's not. I said, yes, he is. She said, no, he's not. He's not getting a vasectomy. I said, I don't think you're the one having babies with this man. I don't think you're having these talks with this man. No, he's not. We went back and forth, and I was just like, okay, whatever. Also, at this baby shower, I got it reported to me that she was sitting at the table with our friend group, and was talking bad about me at my baby shower. There was one time we were at Thanksgiving or something, and there was just this random baby. I'm like, whose kid is this? She's like, I don't know. As she's sitting here just feeding this baby random food. I didn't have kids at the time, so I think this baby was almost one, or about one-ish age, just feeding this random baby. And that's the night that I sat Justin in the garage, and I was like, look, we have no kids. We have no ties. I need to make it very clear, when we do have children, they are not to be alone with your mother, ever. And if we can't agree on that, or if you don't agree with me, let's talk about it, but that's my boundary. And he was like, no, that's fine. So I'm glad I did it when I did it, because if we would have had kids and had to have that conversation, it would have probably been harder. Maybe not, though, because he gets it. But little me was protecting my future children from that, because ain't no way. There was another time we bought our first house in a town that's not where we grew up from. It was 20 minutes from where we grew up, and his mother had built a house in a different town the other way. Okay, she decided to get a job in the same town that we lived in and I worked in that was 45 minutes away from her house. Okay, she got a job 45 minutes away from her home. And a friend of mine, or a girl that I worked with, went shopping. It was at a bin store. She went shopping at this bin store. And she was there with her grandma, and they were just chatting with this random lady. And they got on the talk of daughter-in-law, because I guess her grandma. So my friend had gone into this bin store, which is where she ended up working. And she didn't know it was my mother-in-law at the time. And she was with her grandma, and they got to chit-chatting, and they were talking about daughter-in-laws. And this lady was talking about how much she hated her daughter-in-law, and she was talking crap about my family, and she was just giving details to where then my friend that I work with she's like, it clicked. She was talking about my son's first birthday that we had just had that she got invited to. She was talking about it, and then Kaylee was like, it clicked who that was. She was giving her all these details to where like Kaylee wouldn't know these things unless it came out of her mouth. And so then Justin had reached out and was like, why are you doing this? Why are you talking to random strangers saying how much you hate Brie? And his mom was like, I didn't do that. I must have been talking to one of my coworkers and she was just listening. Okay. She also, I'm not going to go into what happened to Justin in his childhood. Like, why we're here is not because she did something to me at the beginning. It was because of the way that she manipulated Justin and talked to him. And I was like, that's a red flag. And so I started to predict the things that she was going to do next. And I was always right every time. And so then Justin's like, oh, that's when he started to figure out. Okay. It's not me just saying your mom's evil, blah, blah, blah. No, it's because I can clock what you're going to do because you have the mind of a narcissist. Anyways, she badmouths Justin's stepdad that's been in his life since he was like 5. We are very close with the stepdad. He does very good things for my kids, for our family. He's just there. He's a good person. And it eats his mom alive that we are still in contact with him. Like, they split up the year me and Justin started dating. So from like, he was in Justin's life from like the age of 5 to the age of like 18. Okay, so that was his dad. That is his dad. And she's just always saying nasty stuff, getting Justin in business that is not the child's business. I know he's a grown adult, but when it comes to like mom and dad, none of his business. And she's always been kind of mad at us for being close to him. And even with the situation that's going on now, she is just always bringing him up. I'm like, girl, lay it to rest. Like, you and him separate. No kids that are under the age of 18. Like, y'all just, and he never really talks about her unless I'm sitting there like ranting, and he really doesn't even say anything. He just hears me out and he's like, yeah, yep. But every time we're around her, she says something about this man. And I'm like, girl. She also, a couple months ago, showed up to my job and was asking for me. Thank goodness I wasn't working this day, but I'm getting texts like, hey, someone that works with whatever, because she got a new job, was here asking for you. Would you go to someone that you don't get along with? You apparently can't come to their home to see your grandchildren because you don't like her so much. Could you imagine coming to her job? Me neither. This one takes the icing on the cake for me. This just shows who she is. I had delivered one of my kids. My labor and delivery sister is there, and they're talking about how big my baby is. I have big babies. And she was like, oh, that comes from my side. Not that I'm a type 1 diabetic. That comes from my side. Justin was 2 months early and he was 10 pounds. My sister looked at me. Me and her, eye contact at the same time. And we were just like, oh, yeah. Yeah. Like, why even lie about something like that? Like, it's to the, I genuinely feel bad for her. And this is why we keep trying to get her to therapy, because I think it would benefit her. Not only would it like try to do something to the relationship so she can be involved with my children, but everyone could benefit from therapy. Let's just start there. But you know what I'm saying? I don't know. That was just a few off the top of my noggin that just really I think about sometimes and just have to LOL. Anyways, have a great day. Okay, I forgot about this story because I just want to bury it deep down somewhere. Okay. This was before me and Justin ever had kids. We were living in one of our rental houses, and we were in our room as adult teenagers do, hanging out, if you catch my drift. We were hanging out and we're done, whatever. Justin goes out to get like a drink of water or let the dogs out or something. His mom is just out there sitting on the couch. No idea how long she was there. Didn't say she was coming. She's just sitting on the couch. I was still in my birthday suit under the covers, and she just walked in my room, sat on the bed. I'm like, oh, get out. Weird. Okay? Bizarre. Leave. If that's happening with your child, like, bizounce. There was another time I worked at the apartment complex, and so I would go home on my lunch. And there was one time I couldn't get into my apartment. Like, the inside top lock was locked, so I couldn't get in my apartment. And I'm like out there thinking like, what, this is freaking weird. And then I hear someone unlock the top lock. Didn't open the door, just unlocked it. So I opened the door and she's just sitting on the couch looking around, no TV on. And I don't even remember what she said while she was there, but I'm just like, me and Justin had only been dating for like 4 months, by the way. So like, weird. Okay, so after my son had passed away, it was like a few months later, my sweet mother was in her feelings, and she made like a header on Facebook about Lennox and like being her grandbaby in heaven and whatever. And that very same day, Justin's mommy came in and made one, which honestly, you can post my kid, like, you know, but what irritates the fire out of me, which maybe it shouldn't irritate me, maybe I should be glad, whatever. Anyways, just his mother made the post and was like, yada yada yada, something Knox, and it was a picture of Lennox, and I'm like, did she just make this nickname up, calling him Knox? Like, maybe it shouldn't irritate me. And honestly, compared to everything else, that's whatever. But I just remember sitting there thinking like, what the actual fuck is Knox? I told Justin, I said, if she ever calls him Knox to my face, I'm literally going to say, who? Come again? I don't know. I think through all of this, the problem is, not necessarily the problem, but what I think this stems from is she has to feel needed by people. So like, Justin's mom's boyfriend has a daughter that has kids, and she watches them and she does whatever with them, and if their mom trusts her, then that's really good on her part. I don't, and that's why my kids are not allowed to be alone around her. But once me and Justin kind of started like functioning as a couple, even before kids, I think that she realized that she wasn't as needed by him, which is honestly really sad to think about. And that's why she does these things. Maybe that's just, I'm no professional, but that's really sad. But at the same time, you're a grown adult and you need to figure out your own feelings and not put that on your kid. You know what I mean? And also, the way she works is if you do anything to call her out, like I said in one of my other videos, she just won't talk to you. Dead to her. She did not speak to her own mother for over 20 years. I don't know the story. I don't know anything about that. But just from her getting mad at Justin and not speaking to him, I just think it's sad. I don't know. Also, let me just tell you where all of this started. Let's go back to the beginning now. Not anything that she had done with Justin. I had started to see that, but I had started to notice that everybody that she was friends with, or like, there was a lady that was like kind of Justin's aunt, but they've just been friends for a long time. Like, we went to their family holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever. They were very close, like very close. She was always talking crap about her, or like she has something nasty to say about everyone and anyone, especially people that she's friends with and she's around and she talks to. So it just made me think like, wow, I wonder what's being said about me behind closed doors if she's talking about her best friend this way, cousin, aunt, whatever she is. What's being said about me that I don't know about? So when she would say these like hurtful, nasty things about this person and her kids, one of the cousin whatever's daughters ended up moving in with me and Justin in our apartment for a while, and she had nasty things to say about her. Mind you, we're like 18, 19 at the time, like kids, and you have just horrible things to say. My family is not like that. Anytime I was a kid and would be with my friends in the backseat talking bad about someone, my mom would be like, like, that was just not how I grew up. So to hear an adult talking about a kid like that shocked me to my core. And so it just really got me thinking, and then I just started to see everything, like absolutely everything she was doing. She was broken up with Justin's stepdad, but she would still have him take us out to dinner, and she would be like, call Jay and see if he'll take us out to eat, and then say nasty things about him. And I'm like, this is not okay. Like, you are using this person. Not okay. So that's initially where everything started, and I was not going to subject myself to that. Justin can do whatever he wanted, but me, I was like, And then she also, like, she's a pathological liar, so then also things that come out of her mouth are lies. So it's like, I just couldn't imagine the things that she's made up about me, which is why I'm assuming the actual aunt that hasn't been around for 14 years, that she didn't talk to for 14 years, another story, that's probably why I've met her one time. She's very nice to me, nice to my face, but then after all this, I'm like, if you heard what she did having to do with my son that passed away, and you can still talk about me like that, you don't know anything. You know one side of the story, and I can promise you a lot of it probably is not true. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. I don't need to be heard out by you or your side of the family if that's how you guys treat people. And that's okay with me. One last thing, because I'm so fired up about the situation, is the only reason the aunt of 14 years that's been missing and the mom rekindled was over the loss of me and Justin's child. Justin, being the grown adult that man is, reached out to his mom during the whole Lennox situation and said, life is short. Whatever happened between you two is not worth it. You need to reach out to her. Yeah. So the whole reason they're even in cahoots again is because Justin is the one that suggested that his mom let something go and contact her, because our son was passing away, and that does something to someone, and it makes you just really realize that shit happens. You guys, the problem is there's not really many more stories I can tell, because the rest of them that are worse than what I've originally told you have to do with, like, Justin and his brothers and just stuff that I'm not going to touch on. You guys can ask Justin in the comments to come and do a story time and see if he has anything to share, but it's not for me to tell the internet. But just know there were many worse things that were done and said than what you know. Yeah.
So I have a lot of dating horror stories. One of them is that I matched with this guy, and they're easy to match with. They're easy to come by. A lot of them are attractive and wealthy and live in San Diego. Like, it's not hard to match with these men, to be asked out on a date, but it's like what happens next is the tricky part. So this guy graduated from Harvard and Stanford. He's at his beach house. I can see that he's at his beach house. He's like actively renovating it. He comes from a big family. He's from San Diego. His sister lives in my area. Like, they're just like a lot of things that are looking good. We talked for like an hour. We kind of want the same things. Everything's looking good. We plan a date for the weekend. I always do a FaceTime screener ahead of time because, like, I'm not driving and getting ready and going on a date. If I know this looks crazy, but it'll get better if the vibes are not there, and I will know within like 10 seconds of a FaceTime if I want to go out with them or if it's going to be like an absolute no. So it saves me a lot of time. So we FaceTime for like an hour. Everything's good. We're planning the date. And he goes, oh, we didn't have a chance to talk about politics or religion. And I'm like, thank you for bringing this up. Let's get into it. And he said moderate on his profile. So to me, that's like kind of, it's not talking about it, but it's like at least I have an idea or something. Anyway, so he goes into his opinions. And this man tells me, he's in his 40s, like a successful business person, that voting doesn't matter. And listen to this, his uncle is in politics, and so he knows that voting doesn't matter. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, are you saying that you're a Republican and you live in a blue state, so when you vote for a Republican it doesn't matter? Like, what are you referring to? Are you saying that like elections are rigged so it doesn't matter? Like, what do you mean? He's like, no, voting just doesn't do anything. And I was like, okay, that's not true. And I was like, hey, we can work on that, like seeing basically if he will allow himself to be pushed, like if there's any wiggle room, right? Because I'm not completely opposed to like pushing a man and being like, you're wrong. I think people can change and learn. I don't want to have to teach a 40-year-old man why voting is important, but you know what I mean? It's not like, I'm leaving you now. It's like, is this man teachable? Can this man be pushed? Anyways, he goes, or I say, well, midterm elections are actually really important. Like the Palisades fires in LA were really, really bad. And you know what? California voted against funding firefighters. And so are we surprised when there are these massive fires and there aren't enough firefighters when we voted no on giving firefighters more money? Like that had a direct impact on people losing homes. And like it was horrible. The Palisade fires were horrible. And if those police departments had like several more $1 million a year, imagine how better it could have been. Like that's crazy. And then also on the ballot, it was if the California government should dictate what we do in San Diego, or if the people should have the power in San Diego. Like obviously local government, I totally trust like local government more than just like, you know, some big national situation. So I voted for San Diego to get to decide what to do with the money. Sometimes it's like, should we give this to homelessness? Should we give this to substance abuse? Should we give this to mental health? Like you vote on local elections that have direct implications for school districts, funding, like just so many different things. So to say like it doesn't matter is literally crazy. And it was giving the energy of like, I have a black friend. Like I'm not racist because I have a black friend, or like I know about black culture because I have a black friend. And I'm just like, just because your uncle is a like congressperson or whatever, like that means absolutely nothing to me. And it was like the lack of being teachable. And I'm just like, you are so dumb. So yeah, no, I was like, I told him like, yeah, we're not going out. Like that was enough for me. That was enough for me. No. And then on another date, and these men are older and it makes me laugh. Like they're not young. They have like multiple degrees. They're like well into their profession. They're like sometimes middle-aged. I'm like, how have you, like, this is why you're not married. This is exactly why you're not married. So this other guy, I don't know how it got on the topic, but we were talking about how Republicans had the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives, and like something about that. And he's like, well, no, because, or we hadn't said that yet. He's like, well, we have checks and balances and like things can't get done because we have the House. And I was like, no. This was like a year ago. I was like, Republicans have everything. They have the House, they have the Senate, they have the presidency, and they have the Supreme Court. Like we are in some deep shit. And he like didn't know that. And like he brought that up. It's not just like he didn't know, he actively had bad information and was telling me why I shouldn't be worried or why it wasn't a big deal because of checks and balances. And it's like, no, that's why it is a big deal. That's why Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett, is that her name? Is Amy Coney Barrett the victim of Brett Kavanaugh? I don't remember. Those two Supreme Court justices, because of Trump, terrifying. That is like affecting us so much. That was like one of the biggest things of the 2016 election was the Supreme Court judges and putting two young conservatives in. Like that is one of the biggest things that's going to affect society for like the next several decades. So anyways, he just like didn't know. So for him to like push down my concerns on bad information was wild. And then when I corrected him, it's like, oh, like what? And then I've had two different guys use the R word. Absolutely not. Broke it off with both of them and told them that was why. Like, what? And these men are in their late 30s. One of them was in his 40s that said that. And I'm just like, there is no way. And I go, certainly this is not the first time you've heard this, that's like not an okay thing. And one goes, was one of your kids R word? Is that why you care? And I'm like, no. And it shouldn't matter if my kids are disabled or not, because you just shouldn't say that in general. Like, what on earth? Like, this is why you're single. You're MAGA. You don't understand how the government works. You think voting doesn't matter. You're actively using the R word. Like, you have problems. Like, what? And then anytime a man does not have at least 50% custody of his kids, like, I'm always suspect. Or anytime a man intentionally moves away from his kids, which I know the irony. If you know, you know. The irony. Anytime they don't have 50-50 custody, anytime they move away from their kids, I'm like, what's your problem? Like, what's going on? So yeah, these men are like, no. And you guys, I go on dates all the time. I match with people all the time. I text them, I FaceTime them. Like, I am in this deep, I get matches, etc. And it is such slim pickings. It is such slim pickings. It's just like, oh my gosh. So, you know, I have like the situationship and whatever. Like, I have my go-to individuals, but in the meantime, like, looking for the forever person and the husband, and everyone's like, date women. I've tried, and I think if the stars aligned, I could definitely be with a woman. So we'll see. A couple women are hitting on me right now on Bumble, so we'll see how that goes. But it's just, when you get a divorce, you're not picking between your current spouse and a new spouse that's perfect for you. You really aren't. You're really picking between your current spouse and then maybe being single for like a really long time, or maybe not necessarily like a better person for you, but just a different person. But don't be in a marriage and be like, well, I can either have this person or this other person that has everything good my current husband has, but all these better qualities. No, because you might find yourself going on several dates a month, breaking up with all of them because they're just not at your level. And I came back from that date to a clean house, and my house cleaner had just come, and I had fresh flowers on the countertop, and it was like my 3-bed townhome with this beautiful view of a valley and a backyard patio space and a front yard with all these great neighbors. And I work part-time as a therapist in San Diego. It's my dream job. Like, I have a beautiful lifestyle, like, go to workout classes, have days off. Like, it's just, I'm like, you know what? It sounds weird, but like, I am that girl. I know that sounds weird, you guys, but I'm like, I have a master's degree, I have a thriving therapy practice, I'm my own boss, like, I don't have HR, I decide what I do with my time, like, I live in one of the most beautiful places in the world, and you're just not at my level. And I know that sounds bad, but like, sometimes I have to remind myself of that because I'm so used to myself that I forget that these men are just not at my level. They're not at my level. If there was a man like me with a master's degree, a thriving business, working part-time, had kids in like a bigger house, lived comfortably, was liberal, had lots of friends and hobbies, was active, had, you know, their mental health in check, had been to years of therapy, like, that's a unicorn. Do you even know any men like that have their kids at least 50% of the time, if they do have kids, who wants marriage? Someone who bakes and cooks and helps their friends and has like a community. Like, doesn't that just sound like unicorn behavior? But that's me, and that's so many other women that I know. Like, it's just a day, it's one of those days where I'm like, you know what, I'll just stay single. Like, my life is good, I like this better than being married, and like, we're gonna be fine. So I'm gonna go into Barnes & Noble and see if there are any baddies in there, because a girl's gotta hustle. I also think that social media will like find me my husband. I wouldn't be surprised if like somebody slid into my DMs. I've already had guys slide into my DMs, but that's my other strategy. I'm just gonna have to like recruit someone to come to San Diego. That's my other thought too.
Oh, hey, story time. I walked out of a date the other night. I have to tell you guys about this. So I was on a date. I realized kind of quickly into this date, like, this guy's not my boyfriend. I don't want to see him again. A lot of girls end up in that situation. It's just not the guy for them. They're not going to see him again. But not every girl's like me. I am a writer and a social work major. I'm really intrigued by the way things kind of work culturally in our generation. And I'm really concerned about things like gender and family and much, 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 much more. And so when I end up on a date where I know it's not it for me, it's never a waste. Because it's an intriguing conversation. It's data. Like, ask that guy questions you've always wanted to ask a random guy, right? So I did. One particular thing that really intrigued me about this guy was that he had this idea of relationships that his girlfriend would just kind of spawn, and he would have a happy, healthy, serious relationship without really having to put anything into it. So, I just picked this up throughout our interaction and conversation. And I said something to the effect of, so how do you plan to get a girlfriend? Then he starts to get honest. He says, well, it'll probably start off as, something casual, hookups, and then I realize that I'm just obsessed with her and I want to keep seeing her, and that's a girlfriend. We start dating. So, last things are first there, buddy. So, I asked, not in an inappropriate way, but in a cultural critic way, how many women he had slept with. And he's like, well, I don't really know if I'm comfortable with telling you how many women I've slept with, so how about you go first? And I said 0. I have a body count of 0. Which is true, by the way. I do. And that's not by technicality. I actually have a body count of 0. I have saved myself for my husband. So he's like, oh. Well. And he says 149. Now, he thought I was going to be 150, which prompted in me promptly leaving the date. And not even telling me goodbye, telling him that he could not walk me to my car. What in the world? 149 girls. Did girl 149 know about the 148 before her? Do you guys understand how severely pair bonding is damaged by that point? How shallow and numb your connections will be with the opposite gender if you have behaved that way? I want you to know that whatever you've done, you're beautiful and your life has value. And I'm sure it's just, I'm sure you have a future and hope and a call of God on your life. And I just hope you can see that and get out of the life that you might be living. But I just, and I'm on these apps, and I'm looking for a godly man who will wait for marriage with me and lead our family. And serve God together and make the world a better place. And some people genuinely use it like a sex app. And I said, so all these women, where do they come from? Because you're not just meeting 149 women at your job. Unless you work at Live in Miami or something. And he said, well, I'm going to be honest with you. 90% is Bumble, Tinder, and Hinge. And I'm on Hinge. Oh, I'm looking for a godly man. Genuinely, I am on Hinge to have fun and grow in my experience as need be until I meet my spouse and marry him and date him. It's it doesn't always have to be serious. So I am mainly looking to have fun in a way that aligns with my values. That is a success. I have grown in experience. I have learned either way, relationship or not. But if a relationship does come out of an app, I have standards. And people like him are on those apps. $149 women. And the context clues that I picked up on with him was that he was an honest guy. He would tell me things that were kind of self-deprecating or cringy, and it would benefit him to maybe be dishonest, but he admitted certain things. And he seemed as if he was embarrassed about his, body count. So I don't have enough context to think that he was lying to me. It wouldn't make sense to me. But I'm concerned. I'm concerned. It's just how cheap has intimacy become? How shallow has it become if it can be shared with 150 people? I saw a video in here the other day of a couple, and they were like, okay, let's admit what our body count is on 3. And then she said 54, and he said 80 something. Guys, that's a lot. That is extreme. That is really extreme. Like, the inherent beauty with which God designed you, like Scripture says, He knits you together in your mother's womb. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. He knows every hair on your head. You are so sacred. You're so valuable. And to surrender the most sacred experience, the most sacred part of yourself, in the most shallow and casual way. It's like my heart is broken for some of y'all. My experience, despite the discomfort of waiting, despite the faith stretch of praying for what I know I will have, my experience is still so much better than a lot of y'all's, simply because God's design is best. God's design is best. It's built to protect us. It's like a sports car. It comes with standards. It must be treated a certain way. It has to have a certain kind of gas. It has to have a certain kind of maintenance. It's because of its value that there's a standard with which it's driven. And I think I would say the same to some of y'all. And I'm concerned. I'm deeply concerned about the direction of society, the dating pool, the birth rate, the pair bonding abilities of a generation, the psychological dysfunction, the numbness with which we will begin to relate to one another. And only God can, put the American family back together, truly, because this is crazy.
If you can't post him to your socials and he can't or won't post you to his socials, then y'all not supposed to be together. Period. Follow me for more relationship advice.
Boy, do I have a story time for y'all. And this just happened to me on Thursday. So get ready with me while I tell you about something absolutely crazy that has never happened to me in my 10 years of doing hair. Let's go. So on Wednesday, one of my clients had texted me and said that she was sick, so she wasn't going to be able to make it to her appointment on Thursday. Every now and then when I have a cancellation like that, sometimes I'll just I'll post on my Instagram and my Facebook story that I have a cancellation opening. And so that's what I did. I posted it the day before and had a couple messages, but the timing just didn't work out for anybody. Just feeling that I wasn't gonna feel it, which is fine, whatever. I need to go run and get the kids' Valentine's stuff, and I'll just do that during that little break because I did have some haircuts scheduled already in the afternoon. I get to work that morning and I had just had a partial highlight, but since I didn't have anything else, we decided to just go ahead and do a full since I had the time that day. But around 10:20, I get a message from a girl. It's me. I'll take the spot. I'm okay, cool. Explained to her that it would probably be 12:31. And she was yeah, no problem. I can even be there by 12:30. Okay. I messaged her back at 11:34, and by the way, I have all this written down and I will be posting screenshots with this. I messaged her back at 11:30 and I'm 12:30 is perfect. She messaged me back at 11:36 and said, is one better? I messaged her back at 11:41 and I said, anytime between 12:30 and 1 is fine. Messaged me back at 11:43 and says, perfect, I'll be there. What's the address? 11:45, I messaged her back and I gave her the address. We had agreed 12:30 to 1. Here it is, 1:10. I shoot her a message and I say, are you still able to make it today? At 1:15, she messaged me back and says, on way. That's it, on way. Fine. Then, right after she sends that text, at 1:15, she calls me. It's like 1:16 at this point. She's like, hey, I am just letting you know I'm 9 months pregnant and I had an accident. And by accident, I do not mean car wreck. By accident, I mean she had an accident on herself because she's 9 months pregnant. I've had 3 kids. Totally get it. Whatever. So I'm like, okay. And she's like, I'm running into Walmart in Jackson. And mind you, Walmart in Jackson, like it's literally 15, 20 minutes maybe to like my salon. I'm just grabbing like a change of clothes and then I'll be right there. Fine. Great. I am a sentimental person. So I'm like, oh my God, like, no, I was pregnant. Like, I get it, you know, we've been there. That's 1:15 when we're on the phone having that conversation. Super quick. We get off the phone, 1:17. That's it. So I'm just sitting there, but on the phone, she was like, I should be there like at 2. Okay, that's fine. I can still make 2 work. My haircuts weren't going to be there till like after I got out of school anyway at like 2:45. So by the time I got her color on, I'd be able to do my haircuts. Anyway, I would be able to do my haircuts while she was processing. At 1:39, she messaged me on Insta again and says, hey, text me please, and gives her phone number. And first off, I'm like, we've been messaging on here, like, why can't we just, like, that's fine. Like, everybody has my number anyway. I've had the same number since I got my very first phone in 5th grade. So everybody has my number anyway, so it's fine. So I'm like, okay. So I text her and I say, it's Raven. She texts me back at 1:44 and says, I'm leaving Walmart now. Ma'am, at 1:15, you told me you were in Walmart grabbing a change of clothes and you were going to be right there. It took you 30 minutes to grab a pair of, like, I don't know, like sweatpants or leggings or whatever you wanted to change into in the middle of a day on a Thursday when, let's be so honest, it's not busy. It's not. Like, there's not that much going on. So, I message her back and I say, okay. I'm gonna flip my page. Okay. 1:46, she texts me again and says, do you want a loaded tea? My first thought is, I hope you're not stopping for you a loaded tea because, like, you're pregnant. Like, I probably wouldn't be drinking loaded teas at 9 months pregnant. I message her back and I'm like, no, I'm good. Thank you, though. Then at 1:46, she messaged me again. She's like, thank you so much for doing this for me. I'm high risk and we go in for a C-section tonight and I'm terrified for the outcome for both of us. At 1:47, I send her a text and I'm like, you're welcome. Are you still gonna make it by 2? Because are you gonna make it by 2? 1:48, she texts me back and she says, I'm leaving now, coming from Jackson and traffic. Probably 2:15, but I'm on my way and trying as fast as I can.
Ru, ¿cuándo fue? En Año Nuevo.
As fast as you can, because, like, this is sounding like you're just, like, taking your sweet. It's almost 1:50, and you were supposed to be here between 12:30 and 1. Okay. So I messaged her back at 1:50 and I'm like, hey, we have basketball practice tonight, so I have to be out of here by 4. She messaged me back at 1:51 and she's like, hey, I got it. I will do whatever you feel comfortable with the time that we have. Initially, she told me haircut, face frame, color, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I would have had plenty of time to do all of this. Those crap I had going on. So then it gets worse, and this is when I start feeling, like, very weird. And, like, me and my girls in the salon are like, oh, this is just not. It just sounded real sketchy at this point. At 1:57, she texts me again and says, I got you a gift. You got me a gift. I've never done this girl's hair before. Like, this was just, I'm normally booked out like 6 weeks and people don't like to wait for that. Totally get it. But this was a cancellation spot, so I was like just gonna let her have it. And then she gave me, you know, the story about like they're going in for a C-section tonight. She wanted her hair done. Like, I was just being a good person, okay? Who I am. Like, I have a good heart. I don't respond after she says I got you a gift because I'm already feeling super weird at this rate. I can't focus on browse while trying to do a story time. At 2:06, this girl texts me and says, "What shoe size do you wear?" I could not make this up if I tried. Like, I'm still over here like, I think I'm getting punked, you know? What shoe size do you wear? Ma'am, one, you literally have wasted my entire afternoon, and when you waste my time, it pisses me off. Be real nice because you've told me that you're pregnant, you're going in for a C-section. Like, 2:07, I message her back, and I'm like, girl, I'm good, seriously. If you could just get here so we can get started. That's how I'm feeling at that point. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. 12:30 to 1, and it's after 2. 2:08. She texts me back and says, I am, girl. I'm on the way. Just in traffic. That's all. There is no way in hell. You knew the area that I was talking about. Some of you do. Jackson Walmart to Medina. I can make that drive, and I do all the time. Like, the supply store is even further past Walmart. I make that drive all the time, and I get back to the salon in 15 minutes. In morning traffic at that. I just don't respond after that. I'm like, okay. I try to be nice, and I want to just like call it quits at this point already, but she keeps telling me she's on her way, and I feel bad for her. So I'm like, 2:21, texts me again and says I'll be there in 15 minutes behind this traffic. At this point, I respond to her and I say, hey girl, my haircuts are gonna be here in 20 minutes, and I'm not gonna have enough time. I'm no longer gonna be able to do it. I'm sorry. She messaged me back at 2:26 and says, okay, I'm sorry. The traffic is horrible and we hit every red light on the way. I can count you how many red lights there are from Jackson Walmart to Medina. I literally can count them if you want me to. I'll put them in the comments. Tell me. And then she texts me back and says, when do you have another appointment? I did not respond to her. I will not respond to her. I will block her. I will block her on Instagram. I'm blocking her number. I'm telling my best friends about this, and I said, did I like really get punked? Like, did she literally just do this for shits and gigs? Because that's what I'm thinking. I've never in my life had someone go back and forth with me this badly. I have no idea how, I don't know, if you're a hairstylist, you do. I was so frustrated because, one, if I would have known the whole time you were just joshing me, if that's still a thing, 12:45, when I got done with my other client, to 2:45, I could have gone and ran errands that I needed to run. I could have gone to my daughter's Valentine's Day that my husband actually went to because I wasn't going to have enough time. Could have gone and picked up my kids' Valentine's stuff that I had to do after work instead. I could have already had all of that done. I could have went home. I could have folded some laundry. I could have done a number of things. And you wasted my entire afternoon. With my best friends about this last night, they were like, you're putting this on TikTok. So here I am putting it on TikTok, and I'm telling both of my coworkers about it, and their clients are in there too, and we're all talking about it. I scroll up on Facebook, come to find out, she's on like this what's happening in the area or whatever page, and she scams people. Her and her husband scam people. So now I'm thinking, what if she would have showed up and then tried not to pay me? Is she really even pregnant at all? Media isn't giving like you're pregnant at all. I'm honestly still at a loss for words and laughing so hard because, like, girl, what size shoe do you wear? Do you want a loaded tee? No, can you just get here? Like you said you would be? Anyway, that is my story time. That is the craziest thing I think that has ever happened to me. I've been doing 10 years in this industry, and that has never happened to me. At least my makeup looks really good. Happy Valentine's Day.